So, one more video because I got to process really quick. I heard back from the social worker. I'm so excited. The VA. So I will have case management. I have to sign an ROI with her so that she can talk with my public defender about this case. Because in her system it shows that I have an active warrant as well. And she said that it's up to the judge to sign it, and that I would have to wait to hear back from my attorney. And so I emailed her, and I feel bad because that's like the fifth communication I've had with her since Friday, and I know that she probably has a massive caseload, but maybe it's easier for her to have the email. And I attached the documents that I already had from pretrial services, so she has those. I don't know if it'll help her out. But from what Holly described, and she said she can't provide legal advice, honestly, but she does work with legal involved veterans. And it's another thing through OneSource, which is a great program actually here in Grand Junction, because I've done the VOA, I've done the Veteran Benefits Administration through them. I've done, they even had an art class too. So it's a good program for vets. And now they have social work for legal involved. So I'll meet with her next week, sign some ROI. She said she could come to the house or the apartment here. But I emailed and just asked, how do I proceed from here? Because I don't fear the police necessarily, honestly. And unfortunately, it was just a system of abuse in Nebraska because it was a small town divorce, and I was roughly wellness check arrested too many times. And they were his buddies. And so it's a PTSD trigger, but it shouldn't carry over here. I'm trying to break that PTSD trigger and separate it. And it's an honest mistake. I showed up too early for a hearing on the wrong day, apparently. And then through processing of PTSD, I missed the hearing date that they said. And so... and I'm not fighting them on that. Like, it is what it is. Like, those are the facts presented right now. And I just have to process through this idea of fear that it would be the same people that kept showing up at my house in Nebraska. Because it was pretty bad, actually. It really was. It was that bad. But it's not the same situation here, and I'm surrounding myself in services of people who are responding to a cry of a woman in distress, I guess, that takes this court case very seriously, actually. And I try and mind all my P's and Q's. And I have not missed anything. Well, in the beginning, I didn't even understand, because I'm not, and the judge did say, like, it happens a lot with people who aren't court involved, and he doesn't, like, he's going to give, and he gave a stern warning, like, at court. And I heard him give it to others. It wasn't just me. It's a very, like, you have to take your court cases seriously, and even little mistakes you're going to be held accountable for in this process. And I am working with my attorney, and I feel like I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to. I just don't understand everything that's going on. And so I wanted to update and just say, and Holly reminded me, just wait for my attorney and email her. It might be easier for her to get back to me that way. So I did. And just attached the documents I already had from pretrial services that showed I haven't missed anything. There's no concerns, at least from that level. But missing a court date is a big deal, and I do know that. And I know that it wouldn't be rough, and I would just assume the position of my hands behind my back. But from what I'm understanding, it's the type of warrant it is. They don't chase after people, is what I've heard from a couple people now. So it's not like they're hunting me or something like it's like a marker in the case I missed the hearing. And so, and I know that my attorney, I was reassured that she filed the motion to quash, but it was explained to me by Holly that it's the judge who ends up deciding whether that's allowed or not, to quash that warrant. like I said, I don't understand the legal process in total, but that's like 3 people now: Edgar, Holly, um, and I believe it was even Olivia, possibly, or the secretary, who said something about just wait to hear back from her. Because I haven't spoken directly to Olivia, so maybe it was like a conversation with the secretary. And the secretary was even, she said, just lay low at your, like, don't want, and I had assumed because she filed a quash that it was done, from my understanding. So I have a limited understanding of this criminal process. And it's not the same situation as in Nebraska, honestly, where my rights were trampled. But it's not the same situation here at all. It really isn't. And I just have to keep processing that over and over as I gather people around me who this is their job and they can explain it to me. So I meet with Holly, the social worker with the VA for law-involved vets. Next Tuesday, she's going to come to the apartment. And then I'm going to wait to hear back from Olivia about whether this is quashed. But in the meantime, pretrial services, they suspend during this process. So I'm not worried about that. Edgar was very nice describing that process to me. I just wish I understood completely what my rights were in this situation and obligations, and how to like mitigate any kind of PTSD triggers from the Nebraska situation, honestly, and just keep myself in a meditative flow, a meditative state, very grounded, because while I take this very serious, I'm not a violent person, honestly. It was a medical episode. But I still take sacred responsibility for it. I'm not trying to avoid at all. At all. I take this very seriously. I just, like I said, like, I wish I were already, like, it was already done and I was already, like, on serving, like, the probation that they've offered for the charges. Because it's unnerving. It's unnerving not understanding this process in total, and doing the absolute best I can in this situation while I heal, because I finally have an apartment and I'm establishing myself here, and I live carefully here. I whisper, but this is my healing process, and like I have to remind myself, because some tenants don't enjoy the smoking, but I was given permission in the smoking chair right here. And so I try to minimize. I don't do a lot of pacing like I like to do. If I pace, I do it quietly in the house, in the apartment. And the healing is mostly pretty quiet with me, and it's through video, audio feedback like I've been doing. And so I've had to do a lot of processing, and off and on, it feels better, and then it feels like I'm triggered again, and then it feels better, and then it feels like I'm triggered again. But for the most part, this has been a good day of establishing different support services around me in response to this situation itself. Because like I said, I don't have really a criminal past. I've lived my life in dedication to service to others. I served on a village board. I served on the PTE for a decade. I worked as a volunteer coordinator at CASA for Lancaster County for a decade. Volunteer work was my passion. And, I really, in battered women isolation, haven't been able to live that kind of life, honestly, of giving back. And that was one of my biggest languages of love, is serving in communities. But I'm going to stay grounded, and the same advice I've been given over and over is just wait to hear back from Holly, from my attorney, Olivia. And I emailed her, and I already voicemailed a couple times. So I'm going to leave her alone now and wait to hear back from her, and just, I guess, lay low at my apartment. Maybe go over to St. Mary sometimes for coffee or my lemonade. Because I already spilled my lemonade. I was so bummed. But I got probably a third of it down before it dumped. I might go back and get more. The refills don't cost that much. And it is that good. So, but I'm just going to stay respectful here and heal.